Don't forget to like and subscribe!
Alright, welcome back. Last time someone died. So now we're investigating the room that they died in. So, alright. Alright. These incense slowly rising into the air. It seems familiar somehow. The door. The door leads to the hallway. The lock is intact and there's no signs of damage. The door is probably locked last night, so no sign of like break-in.
And the windows are shut
or like
tight,
a struggle.
too. Seems like the only way to get in would have been through Sylvain's room.
Weird. Okay, flowers. The corners are filled with flowers from different nations. The fragrance is incredibly strong. Yeah, I bet. Luggage. The bag is stuffed with clothes and other daily necessities. It seems quite heavy. Okay. The space inside the cabinet is divided into various compartments. It doesn't look like a person could have hid in there.
Well, looks like we've investigated as much as we can. Let's go report back to Emilie and Shiam.
Let's see if they got anything right. Miss Forensic Doctor over here.
Did you find anything?
There are no signs of forced entry, or a struggle. The only way in would have been through Sylvain's room.
Paimon can show you. Here, it'd be something like this.
Oh. Paimon, when did you draw that? That's pretty good. Alright. Interesting.
But entering through the room next door without alerting Sylvain. Wait, you don't think Sylvain could have been the one who?
I mean, no, I mean that would be too easy, but for right now,
his
there's
reaction
no other.
to the loss of his brother seemed genuine.
Right.
And he doesn't have a motive.
Then what could
That
have
too.
happened last night? I know Sylvain is still in shock, but he's our only available witness. We have to take his statement.
I agree. Also, I've made some new discoveries, so we might as well head next door and go through everything together.
You enter Sylvain's room.
Mr. Sylvain, I need you to tell me everything you and your brother did since yesterday afternoon. Did you see or hear anything strange?
After Kyria attacked Edgar, my brother and I were incredibly careful. We returned to our rooms and decided to lock all the doors leading to the hallway. The only door we kept unlocked was the one connecting our rooms. That way, if we heard any commotion coming from the other room, we could help each other.
So it seems like they were aware that Kyria was going after them next, or they thought.
But I didn't hear any sort of commotion last night. Not a single noise. I woke up this morning, opened the door, and Lucian was...
So, no movement from the room next door. No forced entry via Sylvain's room. No signs of a struggle at the scene. And no external injury on Lucian's body. What kind of cause of death are we dealing with here?
The only thing I could think of is like between the incense and the flowers, maybe some like chemical reaction or whatever where you inhale it, it offs you, but that's a very wild guess.
I did notice a few things about the body. Lucian's pupils were dilated and his skin was flushed. Very similar to Master's symptoms after the attack yesterday.
But there's no bottle or any of that, or forced entry
there weren't
still.
any traces of liquid in his mouth or nose,
Yeah,
so
that's...
it's unlikely he was forced to ingest anything. The more plausible explanation is that he inhaled a substance without knowing it, and I'd say that substance was likely a goose.
So I might be right.
A goose? No, that's not possible. inhaling a goose won't kill you. And anyway, it would have been for just one night.
Just one night, so you're saying prolonged exposure is dangerous?
No, that's not what I meant. Emily, you ran your tests, didn't you? Go on. Tell everyone whether you found any poison.
No, I didn't find any common toxins.
See? A goose is harmless. The market response proved that years ago.
That may be true for most people,
Oh,
but not for everyone.
does like some people have like severe allergic reactions to it?
Master!
Edgar? You're up and about already?
Thanks to Emily, I'm out of the woods for now. Sylvain, no matter how hard you may try to hide it, the truth will always come to light.
Edgar!
Even if we could keep it a secret for another 10 or 20 years, do you think Kyria would just let us be?
So something's happening.
No, he would never give up. Not if he's doing all of this for Yelena.
Okay, who's Yelena now? There's a lot of names being thrown around.
Vijava's real name.
I gotcha. So Tainari has a look at Yelena.
Wasn't a scholar from Sumeru. She was an exiled Fatus from Snezhnaya.
Oh, shit.
Oh, Fatus.
The Fatui. Well, that means the elemental energy present in Auguste was...
Ah, so you've already detected it. Well, Sylvain, looks like there's truly no reason to hide things now.
Oh,
The Auguste flower was created with the mutative and distorting power of a delusion.
That's intense. I didn't know you could do that to a flower.
A delusion?
The Fatui, delusions... I never would have thought Auguste was hiding this many secrets.
Born of a delusion, Auguste contained distorted elemental energy. A prolonged exposure over many years could have a harmful effect on the body.
that's enough, Edgar. I'll take it from here. At first, Yelena wanted to keep refining the perfume and the flower. But no one knew how long the perfume mania was going to last back then. It didn't have any effect on ordinary people anyway. Every day we postponed going to market was another day of lost earning potential.
So you decided poisoning people was worth the risk?
I don't...
Listen, it's not like it was good for business. But all that talk about Auguste being harmful over time, Yelena was just speculating. The impact was practically negligible.
Oh, so they knew that it was made from delusion, but they didn't 100% know that after prolonged exposure, it would off somebody.
Unless you were particularly sensitive to elemental energy or had an entire bottle shoved down your throat like Edgar. You could use the product for decades and be completely fine.
Yeah, but isn't everyone, like, prone to elemental energy? Right?
It may be true there
I
are
might
no
be making
records
that
of
up.
Auguste poisoning in Fontaine. But even if no one was acutely poisoned, willfully bringing a product to market despite explicit knowledge of its harmful effects is still a serious crime.
The divine and noble Auguste originated from a delusion. Yeah.
That explains why you were so intent on keeping Yelena and Kyria's involvement a secret all this time, despite readily confessing to all your financial crimes. The Fatui, delusions, Auguste. If the Marechaussee Phantom discovered the connection between the three, there would have been enough evidence to send you to the Fortress of Meripede for life.
That's why they kept it a secret. Okay.
If I'd known coming to Sumeru would put a target on my back, I would have been more than happy to stay there. At least that way, Lucian would still be alive. All these years without any sign of Kyria, and he pops up out of nowhere the minute my brother and I get out of prison? It couldn't be any clearer who the kid's after. Auguste was harmless before. The fact that it's killing people all of a sudden must be his doing as well.
So there's bad blood between you.
Yeah, that's putting it lightly.
What about Yelena's death? Was that a cover-up too? A way to destroy evidence?
I'll admit, we thought about it at one point. We took care to disguise the products circulating on the market, and no one was questioning Yelena's fake identity. But if the Mara Chaussee Phantom decided to look into the flower beds, it would have been the end. Yelena's ties to the Fatui, the role of the delusion, everything would have been exposed. Before we could even put our plan in motion, Yelena beat us to it. She burned all her flower beds and threw herself into the fire as well.
Yeah, that's intense.
But if her goal was to destroy evidence, there would have been no reason to do that to herself. Yeah, she could have just burned the flower beds and fled with her brother.
I thought about it for a long time, but it wasn't until just now that I finally understood her reasoning. Everything
Are you
she
gonna
did,
tell us?
it was for her brother, Kyria.
Yeah.
One of the reasons they defected from the Fatui was the deterioration of Yelena's body due to her excessive use of a delusion.
Oh, okay.
She didn't want her brother to follow in her footsteps after her death. After arriving in Fontaine, Yelena continued using the delusion to cultivate the Auguste flower, weakening her body even further. There were times when she couldn't even walk.
So you're telling me you got to a point where instead of living like a vegetable, she just offed herself?
She couldn't flee with her brother because she was afraid of holding him back.
That's possibility too.
If her true identity was exposed, she and her brother would face pressure from both Snezhnaya and Fontaine. The Auguste flower and Yelena's own corroded body both bore the mark of a delusion. There would have been no way to avoid suspicion. So, in the end, she burnt it all to ash, including herself. With all the evidence erased, Kyria was free to take the Mora and run.
Yeah. He was not happy about it though, you can tell.
So the wealth you earned from Auguste, it wasn't destroyed in the fire. Yelena gave it to her brother?
Most likely. Before Yelena died, she said if anything happened to her, she was going to leave everything to her brother. We just didn't realize she meant our cut as well.
Oh, that's not good. Listen, regardless of what happened, if many people are contributing something, split it evenly regardless of what's happening, right?
That's why Lucian and I were searching for Kyria, to take back our Mora and the Auguste flower. We just didn't realize Kyria was baiting us the whole time. It was all a trap.
But why is Kyria out for revenge anyway? Doesn't he know about Yelena's decision to sacrifice herself?
Maybe, maybe not, but either way, he probably blames the three.
I don't think he knew his sister was nearing death. Yelena always wore heavy makeup around him to conceal her deteriorating appearance. She kept herself busy with work to keep out of sight. That way her brother wouldn't notice how she could barely walk.
Then all we'll need to do is tell Kyria what really happened, and then he'll give up on his revenge.
That's extremely optimistic, Paimon.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah, Kale knows.
Even if he knew the truth, he'd still find someone to blame. He might think Yelena was forced into using a delusion to cultivate Auguste, or something like that. It's hard to pull yourself out of that kind of hatred. Especially when you've been living in that headspace for so many years.
Very true. Even if Yelena's death was her own choice, I wouldn't call myself innocent either.
Edgar, what are you talking about?
Think about it, Sylvain. If we hadn't been in such a hurry to capitalize on the perfume mania all those years ago, do you think Yelena would have elected to take those risks? If we hadn't
That's
been
hard
so
to say.
blinded by greed, so insistent on increasing the scale of the flower cultivation, do you think Yelena's health would have deteriorated as fast as it did? If we hadn't invited the Marechaussee Phantom to our doorstep by breaking the law at every turn, Yelena could have survived.
She knew her limits. She knew her days were numbered. Maybe it was for her brother, but she was in it for the Mora just as much as us. We were just trying to earn a bit of Mora. And what, we deserve to die for that? Target me for being the mastermind, sure. But what about Lucien? He was just following my orders.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter with somebody like out for revenge like that. It don't matter.
Lucien's crime, was it really so extreme that he had to pay for it with his life?
The only person that can answer that question is a judge.
Fine. I've said my piece anyway. Drag me back to Fontaine to stand trial. I don't care.
3 people from Fontaine, 1 from Snezhnaya, and a crime committed in Port Ormos. What a headache.
Yeah, I bet. That's a lot of, like, paperwork. Oh, man. Good luck.
Well, we can only wait until the Academia sends someone to deal with it. I'm guessing we'll have to contact Fontaine as well.
And
In
Snezhnaya.
case, we won't really know anything until tomorrow.
Alright.
With the exhibition, we don't even have space in Port Ormos to detain anyone. Such a headache.
The hotel could suffice. You could station a few officers to keep an eye on Sylvain and myself. Although with Sylvain's mental state and my physical one, I don't think you need to worry about a jailbreak.
Mr. Edgar, are you saying...
If Sylvain is to stand trial, then I deserve the same fate. A crime is a crime, accomplice or not.
You're a better person than I. I would say, nope, I am an accomplice.
I'd just like to take care of a few
I was
things
forced.
before I go. Say goodbye to my plants and all that. As for Sylvain, I'm sure he also has some goodbyes of his own. Would you be willing to grant that request, Sheriff?
Well, all right. I'll talk to the Academia. No matter who you were in Fontaine or what crimes you committed, the man we grew to know in Sumeru proved himself to be a good person. Your request is granted.
You have my thanks, Sheriff.
But if we wait till tomorrow, doesn't that mean something could still happen tonight? Yeah. Kiria is gonna try to finish the job, right?
Happen tonight? Oh, you mean the possibility that Kiria might try to finish what he started?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all we know is that he uses a goose to poison people, but we still have no idea how to catch him in the act. If he targets Sylvain or Edgar again, we might not be able to stop him.
That may be true, but what if we can take advantage of his desperation?
Desperation?
If we take advantage of this situation and lure him in on purpose, we might finally have the chance to talk to him.
Master, no. That's too dangerous.
Was either they do that, have the potential to catch him, and or unalive, or they just go to jail and still have the potential to unalive because Kiria is gonna come back and finish the job probably. So at least this way they might try to catch Kiria and stop him.
So, that's your plan. If Kyria learns we're being taken away tomorrow, his last chance to enact his revenge would be tonight. In other words, you want to use us as bait to capture him.
Yes, sir.
Capture? Not necessarily. I just want to talk. What? Are you afraid of him?
Afraid? This is my only chance to make him pay for what he did. I'm spending the rest of my life in prison anyway. I can't just sit back and let him ride off into the sunset with our fortune. There's no way I'm letting him get away with it. Not after what he did to Lucian. As for the danger, everyone else just needs to make preparations in advance to protect us.
Yeah, well, he's gonna try
I'll
to...
admit, it could work. We just need to spread the word that Edgar and Sylvain are leaving tomorrow. Then I'll station some of my men around the hotel. If we have your assistance as well, our chance of success would be even higher.
I still have some reservations. But if you insist on carrying out this plan, I won't deny you my help.
We could also help stand guard.
I'll also keep watch.
Although I think Sylvain and myself should remain alone in our respective rooms. If Kyria noticed another person in the room, he might decide to turn back. And besides, it's possible he's already transformed Auguste into a potent toxic gas.
You mean if he doesn't see a way to get his hands on the two of you, he might get so desperate that he'll just start using Auguste on everybody?
Potentially.
If that were to happen, everyone standing guard, even the innocent citizens in Port Ormos would all be in danger.
Yeah, depending on his level of him wanting to get revenge, he'll do literally anything, and he don't care.
That's why everyone else needs to keep to the shadows.
You're still recovering. You need to rest.
This old pack of bones doesn't bounce back like it used to. I suppose I'll just have to leave the rest to you.
All right, we can figure out a plan to keep watch later. Right now, I say we split up, start spreading that information before it's too late.
With everyone's help, the news about Auguste as well as Edgar and Sylvain's impending departure begins to spread.
Have you heard? Mr. Edgar's been detained. He's being taken away tomorrow.
Oh, so that's what they're telling people. Okay, because I was wondering what they were saying to them.
He's the one who helped craft all the fragrances for our shop.
Because normally, people wouldn't care. They're like, hey, I'm taking X criminal away tomorrow. Nobody's gonna give a damn. But I guess if it's Edgar, it's a different story.
He taught my child how to make perfume. How could this happen?
He hasn't been convicted yet. Let's just wait and see what the court has to say.
Why does he sound like that? We're in Sumeru.
Oh,
Whatever.
everyone on the street is talking about the rumors. No matter where Kyria is hiding, he must have heard them by now. Let's head back to the hotel and take a break. We can see how the other preparations are going while we're at it.
Alright. Let's go back to the inn.
Emilie, Sheriff Xian wants to talk to you and the Traveler about our plans for the Night Watch.
Thank you, Kale. But first, here. I prepared a kind of herbal tea that helps calm the spirit. Why don't you have some?
Oh, that's very kind of you, but I'm okay.
Oh, it's not good to be so tense, especially when we've got a long night ahead of us. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I couldn't help but notice that something seems to be on your mind.
Was it that obvious?
I mean,
You seem
A little
very
bit.
preoccupied with Kyria's revenge. If there's anything you want to talk about, I'm happy to listen.
I don't think she's gonna tell you.
Oh,
Yeah, let's...
Hey, Emilie, Kale. Oh, are we interrupting something? No, not at all. This will be to talk through with you here anyway. I've just been thinking. If Kiria has the capacity to commit murder while remaining completely undetected, why didn't he target Sylvain along with Lucien last night?
That's a good point.
There was just a single door separating them. If his intention was to target both brothers, then there was barely anything standing in his way. Don't you think? When I accompanied Sylvain to his room after Lucien died, and saw how distraught he was, I suddenly realized maybe Kiria did that on purpose. Maybe he wanted Sylvain to experience the pain of losing a loved one before he completed his ultimate revenge.
Oh, yeah, maybe. The same pain he felt when he lost his sister.
So did he attack Edgar as a warning then? To scare Sylvain and Lucien?
Based on what we've heard about Kiria, that may very well be the case.
Wow, he is...
Losing his sister all those years ago. What has been going through his head? What has he been forced to endure?
I don't know, but years ago, that's a lot of years of planning.
Whenever I get to thinking like that, I just can't help but wonder. If I were in his place, would I be able to let go of that hatred?
Kale? Well, knowing what happened to you, if Amber and other people weren't there, maybe?
I'm sorry. I know I shouldn't think like that. Not after everything he's done. But I just can't help it.
There's nothing wrong with the way you're feeling. Empathy is a part of human nature. In all my years of cleaning up crime scenes, I've witnessed countless families mourn their loved ones. Their cries of devastation and anger still echo through my mind, even now. Some of them even try to stop me, begging me not to erase the last remnants of their loved ones. But getting swept up in those emotions will corrupt your judgment. Surround yourself with fragrance for too long, and your sense of smell will become dull. Allow yourself to be consumed by your emotions, and you lose the ability to think rationally.
Yeah, there's a certain, never mind.
So while you hold on to that sense of empathy, you also need to ask yourself, do Sylvain and Lucien really deserve to die? How much did they truly know about the Fatui and the delusion? Did they force Yelena to make those decisions? Answering those questions requires a lot of time and evidence, while a single act of vengeance can put those answers forever out of our reach. I've witnessed a lot of deaths in Fontaine. When someone dies, a certain amount of information can be inferred from the traces left behind at the scene. But generally speaking, death will just leave most questions unanswered, and the whole picture ever incomplete.
I don't know if that's what Kiria wants.
Once you're consumed by hatred, it will become next to impossible to think about things that way. For someone like Kiria, I'm sure right and wrong lost all meaning a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
You're right. The fact that we can approach these questions from this perspective isn't because we're more rational than them. It's because we're fortunate enough not to have suffered that kind of loss. But that also makes us perfectly positioned to stand on the outside and try to pull them back from the brink before it's too late. I understand Kiria's decision, but I still want to stop him. Master, Sylvain, and Kiria. They all deserve to survive.
The fortunate and the unfortunate.
Emilie, Traveler. Huh? Edgar, you're here too?
Oh, it's you two! Didn't you head back to your room to rest, Edgar? Is it really okay for you to be out and about like this?
I'm sure he wants fresh air before,
A little exercise never hurt anyone. Besides, I don't have much time left in Sumeru. So I'd like to take care of my plants while I still can.
We could do that for you, Master.
No need. I've grown attached to these flowers, and this is my last chance to say goodbye. come tomorrow, I'll be happy to entrust their care to you. I would imagine Sheriff Sham is here for a more important reason.
Yeah, I would assume.
The Night Watch! You mentioned earlier that we still need to confirm our plans.
That's right. I've stationed some of my men around the surrounding area, but we still don't have anyone standing guard next to Sylvain's room.
Next to Sylvain's room? You mean in Lucien's room? Wait, what?
Exactly. After some discussion, we concluded that Sylvain has the highest risk of being attacked next. You're the most skilled fighter here, Traveler.
Thank you very much. Yes,
And Emilie's
yes, we are.
expertise is sure to come in handy in a pinch. That's why I want you two stationed next to Sylvain's room. So, are you up for it?
Fine with me. What about you, Emilie?
Sounds perfectly reasonable. I'll be glad to have your help tonight, Traveler.
Enter the room. Well, we will enter that room tomorrow. Or not tomorrow. The next time, sorry. But yeah, this is getting interesting. I want to see what goes down and what Kiria is gonna do. And what he looks like, you know? So yeah, until next time. Later.